Thank you, Mysterious Voice, and welcome back to Around the Weird, a booktube channel where I talk about all the unusual and out of the ordinary literature that I've found in my travels. Today it is Poetry Thursday, so I wanted to talk about some more interesting poetry, and it is also Black History Month, because it is February, so I also wanted to highlight some Black poets, poets from Africa, and similar places. And so today's poem is all about remembering your dead father. I am referring to On the 23rd Death Anniversary of My Father by Romeo Oriogun. For those who don't know, Romeo Oriogun is a Nigerian poet and also an essayist. They've written a number of articles as well as creative fiction and poetry. They have a number of books published to their name, and they also work as an assistant professor at a Florida university, which is pretty neat. I don't know too much else about this poet, but I am happy to have found them. And so without further ado, let's talk about this poem. I will read it and do a little bit of analysis, and we will move on from there. On the 23rd death anniversary of my father. My body reaches down into a bottle of gin to make a world out of something close to death. We were never meant to be alive, to be 25 and the chandelier broken into a million fragments of light. Father allowed the bees escape from the beehive. Here's the sting, here's the sound of fear. Here's your father's face carved into the day, breaking the world across your back. Here's all his memories burning down your bones. The wound hurts in its softest part. During the war, a father saved the severed head of his daughter. He talked to it until a rotten head talked back. Here's your father's head in your bosom. Here's your mouth begging for love. For his tongue to show you a way home. Here's your father saying you can't teach a dead man how to love. All the rivers come into you, which means water is never enough to save a man falling from the sky. I have learnt to love every broken thing the way a man learns to live with a memory that doesn't die. I have learnt to carry my father's body in my heart like a son that inherits a knife cut without flinching. And so that was on the 23rd death anniversary of my father. In terms of analysis, there's a fair bit to talk about with this poem. The first thing that I find to be interesting is the narrative. There is no strict narrative, rather it's just a son or the narrator talking about talking about their father and what they meant to him. I think this poem has some complicated emotions in it. Like at the beginning, you say, my body reaches down into a bottle of gin to make a world out of something close to death. We were never meant to be alive, to be 25 and a chandelier broken into a million fragments of light. That's sort of interesting. What does it mean when he says we were never meant to be alive? Why are they drinking gin? Like, is that indicative that the father had that great of a impact on the son? Or rather, is it indicative that maybe the son is trying to forget about the father, drowning themselves in booze in hopes of forgetting? It's a bit unclear, and the rest of the poem sort of leaves it vague and open to interpretation as well. Like you see him say, here's the sting, here's the sound of fear, here's your father's face carved into the day, breaking the world across your back, which is a good couple lines there. I think it's really good. But here's all his memories burning down your bones. That's an interesting way to refer to the father in this poem. It seems like if the memory's burning down your bones, is that causing you pain? Again, what kind of pain is it? Is it the pain of you wanting to forget, or the pain of you remembering, like your father? Again, it's a bit unclear. And then another interesting set of lines is, all the rivers come into you, which means water is never enough to save a man falling from the sky. I have learnt to love every broken thing the way a man learns to live with the memory that doesn't die. which feels important there. Again, like every broken thing. So, suggesting the relationship wasn't perfect. And saying, the way a man learns to live with a memory that doesn't die, which is something that is familiar to me because my father died a couple of years ago. And there are a lot of memories I have of my father that bring sadness to me. Maybe not to the extremes that the narrator is suggesting in this poem, but those memories do hold a lot of weight. And then the final two lines are pretty interesting, where the narrator says, "I have learned to carry my father's body in my heart like a son that inherits a knife cut without flinching." Inherits a knife cut without flinching. I think it's just like maybe his father, like the father's father, also had a complicated relationship with the father in this story, and that spread to the son. So like you're inheriting a sort of pain that's generational. At least that's what I'm getting from the poem. So it's very clear like there are complicated emotions in this memory, but if you love your parents, their death is going to hurt you no matter how complicated that relationship is. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the 23rd death anniversary of my father, which even you can tell by the sort of title of the poem, 23 years later. Like it's not saying you're going to forget your relationship with your father, but if you still have these emotions 23 years later, these specific types of emotions, it was obviously a complicated sort of relationship there. But yeah, pretty solid poem, I would say. A great entry into Black History Month here. If you have any thoughts on the poem, let me know in the comments below, or if you just want to say something about my review here. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that more people can find out about this poet or this poem if they don't already know. And until then, I wish you the best of luck in your weird and parent remembering travels. Farewell.